This is red.
And this is Bolt. Cure. The Cure. I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Oh wait, it's not warm bodies, is it? You know, the thing is, I've never seen that movie, but by its reputation, I can deduce what the ending is. So yeah.
I
Well,
I
one of the
never
first
want to hear you
video
request it for me to see that movie. I'm saying that on the record right now. Good, because I wasn't gonna do it.
If you hadn't ruined the movie for them, the movie would have ruined the movie for them. The zombies are supposed to be an allegory for something else. You're not supposed to have an allegory for the zombies. Preach. Some people just plow through. They'll write something even if it's not good.
It, what? uh, You're hurting me. This is awful.
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna reference his bit about Christmas shoes. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You think Jesus is gonna care about what she's wearing?
And I mean, watching a zombie movie for the plot is, I, you know, but should it though? Should it?
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I mean, I think about the original, the Night of the Living Dead. It's like, yeah,
I mean, that feels more
but
like a lesson
even though it's got
than
a lot of,
a.
even though it's got stuff that's familiar to us, it still holds up in my view. Yeah. Mhm. Henry Fonda. Wow. Mhm. Mhm. Huh. So like I mean, can you copyright a basic idea like that, like a kind of monster? Because I mean, he didn't invent the word zombie. None of the flesh eaters. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Right. Yeah. Uh, I'm Legend. Yeah. 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 And Night of the Living Dead is loosely based on that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, and from what I understand, the original zombies come from folklore, and in the early films that used the term zombie, the themes were focused around um, these stories about sorcerers taking over the minds of victims and enslaving them, and those stories often took place in the Caribbean, where some of those folk tales come from. So that's where the word zombie kind of first appears in film, but it's not used at all in Night of the Living Dead. Yeah. Right. Well, so yeah, I mean, and I was actually wondering this, where it's like this must be a universe where there are no zombie movies because nobody's talking about how wow this is just like in Dawn of the Dead. Isn't it strange that exactly what's happening to us is stuff that's happened in movies? Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Blame them, yeah. Hmm. I mean, like a bat doesn't run out of bullets. You don't have to reload the bat. You can break a bat though, so there's that.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah.
hold that thought. You're not. I think there's something wrong with the audio on your end, Pumpkin, because you're not coming up on stream. Yeah, I think it's been like that for a bit. After, yeah, I thought I was losing it. Sorry for the interruption, guys. I was like, something was. I just like something just bothered me in the back of my mind. That was some intermission music.
This is what when we have advertisers. This is where we'll fill.
The pipe dream.
Yeah, yeah.
How about now? You guys hear me now?
I'm not listening on stream, so I can't tell.
Bolt, can you hear me now? He disappeared.
What's funny now is I'm actually on the YouTube stream and I can't hear any of us.
How about now?
Yeah, he came in.
Oh, wait a minute.
The weird thing is there's with the delay and all.
All right, how about now? Can you hear me on the stream now? I am wrestling with my audio this week. 1 second. This.
Yeah. I mean, I still hear you on the stream now.
All right, perfect. Every time we wind up cutting the track and putting it up onto Spotify, you can't hear me. So I was trying a different way. But I guess, yeah, you always notice whenever I upload, right? Like I sound very far and away. Like that.
So far away.
It's copyrighted. John.
Hey, it was just it's only 5 notes. A melody has to be 9 notes to copyright it.
Pretty much.
Or way.
And it's his own cover version. It's like, if we sing our own cover versions of something, they don't bother us. Just change a lyric. I learned that from the original. Well, to once again repeat some of the small things that we just said, or at least I said, for those of you who couldn't hear it. I gave a quick rundown of Night of the Living Dead. It was supposed to be called one thing. It wasn't called that. Never got registered. And then... yeah, for anybody who cares, I will gladly repeat it. I see we have 5 viewers, so if anybody wants that, you just please put it in the comment section. I'll wind up repeating it. But other than that, like just for a quick recap, movie was supposed to be called Night of the Flesh Eaters. It was owned by some crappy sci-fi film. Didn't get called that. They pitched Night of Anubis, like it's too obscure, so it wound up being called Night of the Living Dead. The first form of the film, we were saying before, was I Am Legend, which was a short story by Richard Matheson about vampirism taking over the world and everybody becoming a mindless vampire while everyone goes outside and trashes Vincent Price's house. Every night, all the vampires just go to Vincent Price's house and trash it for no apparent reason. So, yeah. Also, Romero rejected a high-budget production because he didn't want them to change the ending of the film.
Hey, and the movie still got famous, so joke's on them.
Oh, yeah, joke's definitely on them, which is where I'm always going to say, follow your creative integrity.
Mm-hmm.
But one other thing, though, that I actually want to point out, which to me is a very, very important topic when it comes to zombie movies. In today's day and age, right, we're arguing a lot in favor of diversity and more inclusion and stuff. What's very interesting to me about horror as a whole, but particularly zombie films, They cast Dwayne Jones as the leading man in Night of the Living Dead, right? And this is like at the sort of like, I want to say towards the end, right? Tail end of segregation being a thing, but it was still like a very real thing that everybody was dealing with at the time.
Mm-hmm.
When they cast him as the role, they weren't intentionally casting him because he was black. They were casting him because he was the best one that showed up and read for the character of Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And then the actor Dwayne Jones, when he's like, "Oh, I didn't think I was gonna get this. I wasn't really sure you guys were gonna give me this. I just auditioned, for the sake of auditioning and getting it under my belt." And
Mm-hmm.
Romero's like, "No, you're getting it because you're the best one for the role." So he goes, "Are you sure? I feel weird. I feel weird doing this movie. Like, why?" It's like, "Hey, I'm slapping a white woman on screen. I'm
Mm-hmm.
cussing at older white men. It's kind of weird. I don't know if it's I don't know if this is gonna go over well. Like it's really not a safe bet." And Romero's like, "Well, we're giving it to you because you read the best for the part. That's all. I didn't even think about it. Your skin color never came into question." So he gets the role, and when they screened the film, I think they screened this one in Pittsburgh. The first premiere was in Pittsburgh. Everybody in the audience's mind that, holy crap, we agree with the black guy. Which is a monumental. At no point were they questioning anything that the black guy was saying. They're like, "He boarded up the house. He's trying to tell everybody to be safe. You guys need to listen to him. We all got to work together. Those things are going to eat you."
Mm-hmm.
That's like, yeah, that's, I didn't know that up until I got to see the remake, the 1990s remake. And Dwayne Jones was very, like, scared of filming that. So that's a very fun thing. It's like, yeah, in this genre, this guy was given a whole film, and it's actually one of the most legendary films and the beginning of an entire culture in horror. Because, geez, what don't they do with zombies these days?
Mm-hmm.
But another fun thing, it was Bolt's first time watching Night of the Living Dead. So what was your opinion on it, Bolt?
Well, first thing to clarify, I saw the 1990s version.
Ooh, I like that one.
Oh, I've actually never seen that one.
I kind of wish I saw the 1968 version because at the synopsis of that one, there are some differences, especially in the ending. But I will say, it hits the ground running, and one thing I will point out in the beginning, it's hard to find sympathy with any character up until Ben arrives on screen. And yes, even for the one, Barbara, loved her in this film, the character of Barbara. The duel between her and Ben, when Ben kind of talks her into the mindset of you need kind of white knuckle and keep your head straight on in order to survive. Otherwise, we're both going to die.
Yep.
And she gets that really quickly, whereas the rest of the characters that get introduced later in the film, they don't get it to that extent to her level, because she had the right idea the whole time. And it's funny, her right idea was completely destroyed, ironically, by doing what other ideas other people wanted to do. But the main contention of the film, which I love the parallel they did in this. You have Ben, the other lead character, the protagonist, as you will. He argues that to stay up top of the cellar to board up, fortify, and then fight off the zombies, and then consider plans of trying to get help, go get gas for the car that he brought, thankfully, and parked outside front, which it's key. It comes back around later in the film. Versus what I will argue to say the antagonist of the film, Cooper, Mr. Cooper. Oh man, yeah, Mr. Cooper.
Fuck Mr. Cooper. All right.
Mr.
Yes,
Cooper's
exactly.
Fuck Mr. Cooper.
I never.
In the remake, is he the one that what is he still telling everybody that we need to all hide in the cellar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without telling everyone that there's a sick daughter of his in the cellar.
He does tell them that she was bit.
Well, no, not in the not in 1990s version.
Yeah, he does.
No, like at first he doesn't even mention that he has like a daughter that was bit. It was just like, oh, she's unwell, and he's very reluctant to share that information with them. He just wanted everyone to get into the cellar, just do what he said. And I was proud of Johnny. Yeah, the young boy Johnny with his girlfriend Sarah. Oh, well, no, Sarah was the mother. The young boy was Harry. Yeah.
Judy Rose was the girl. I'm trying to remember his name. I think it was Johnny.
In the original, Johnny is Barbara's brother who dies at the beginning.
Barbara's brother. What the hell? Tom.
There we go.
Yeah, Tom. I remember now. It was Tom. Because I remember as a kid playing around, Tom, what the hell are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Tom was a young, teenager, I would say, with his girlfriend?
I'd say he was like late teens, early college-ish. But he probably wasn't going to go to college. That guy looked like he was straight redneck off the land, redneck type guy.
Yeah, Harry Cooper was the husband. So then Tom was it was a relative. He was a cousin because he was there visiting. And he has been, oh my goodness, he was a tragic hero because he comes and he basically finds his like half his relatives that own the actual house just dead. One unalived itself, while the other one
died of a heart attack.
It wasn't really that much elaborated on.
Yeah, he does. He tells the story. He's like, Uncle Reach died today of a heart attack. So he's like, we came over to see him because Uncle Reach died of a heart attack. And then as he's telling the story, he's like, but then Uncle Reach woke up and then he went after Satchel, my cousin Satchel. So then my cousin Satchel couldn't bear shooting Uncle Reach. So he's like, at that point, that's when Mr. Cooper showed up with his family and the little girl. And then he's the one who told them all to get down into the cellar because there were more of those things coming like Uncle Reach. And then Ben, when he's like telling him your cousin's dead, he's like, yeah, I know he's dead. He shot himself. Because Uncle Reach was coming after him. So he's the one who tore off the hand. So like maybe Barbara and Ben, Barbara might have missed them by like maybe 3 minutes before they got into the cellar. Like they probably just gone in from the sounds.
Yeah, because the blood was fresh. Because I'm not sure it was by minutes, but like it was fresh.
Yeah, like minutes after the gunshot, she probably showed up. The other cousin blew his brains out, but that was he does elaborate. At which point, when they go downstairs and they see the little girl, they're like, yeah, she was bitten by one of those things out there. So like, oh, like, oh yeah, this is legit.
I could have sworn he held off that information because when they get down to the cell and Ben sees the girl, it was just like, oh yeah, she just like took an L, and then he still had compassion. Not for Harry, of course, because Harry can go die. just basically for Helen and the daughter. Like even like, oh, we will give you blankets from upstairs to cover her that way to prevent her from getting cold. And of course, Harry being the antagonist of this film, arguably not even a zombie, just he was basically the antagonist because the stuff he did in that film was mind-bogglingly stupid. It was borderline insanity. Like he was. I'm not sure what his deal was, in just like in terms of just he just was very antagonist in terms of like the idea of cooperating. It was just like, oh yeah, we just didn't get down to the cellar and just wait to die. That was his plan, and he thought that was a brilliant plan, just to hole up and die, not knowing that his daughter was dying, and then going to turn and kill everyone, which gets his wife killed. Spoilers warning. Sorry.
So like I wrote an essay about this movie, like I think 2 years ago. Red, you might have seen the link. I shared it on our old group chat. But I wrote it in defense of the 90s version over the 60s version. Like I'm not saying one was better than the other, but I enjoy the 90s version as it's not a remake in my book. It's more of an update. Like how it would have been had this story taken place in like the early 90s, right? In a world, and the characters are also a little more defined because they had a budget now to actually buy wardrobe for them. In the original one, they didn't. So they all kind of look the same. They're all wearing like similar clothes. But with this one, when you look at everybody kind of looks their class, right? So like Mr. Cooper is wearing a tux, which implies that he just came from like a high-end gala somewhere with his little girl who's wearing like a very nice dress, very fancy dress. Tom and Judy Rose look more like country folk, like they're farmers, hunters. They're like, they're locals from that Pittsburgh area, Pennsylvania. Yeah, and then and that's also why Tom would know how to use a gun, because they're more of those folks, right? They go hunting, they know more or less, they're farm boys, like they use this type of thing all the time. Then you get Ben.
Like useless or scared, because Harry was
Harry's
was so useless
because he's those types of upper management type folks that they're never in the pit. They just tell people what to do, and then like if you question him, he fires you.
And then makes very brash decisions when given certain opportunities or certain things arise.
Well, I mean, best example, right? Like we talked about this. I actually revisited that one as well. I'm gonna actually come up with once we're done waxing on this one, I'm actually gonna say something about Harry Cooper. But the idea is though, like, and you look at Ben and you look at Barbara, they're sort of like those people that are in between blue collar. They're like office workers that are like very nervous about everything that they do. Whereas Ben looks like a dude who is fed up with taking shit from someone like Harry Cooper, and now that his life is on the line, he's like, I don't have to listen to you. We're not in an office. This is the real deal. I would assume that Ben may have been a vet from the way that he was kind of like cool under pressure. You know what I mean? Whereas Harry Cooper was probably not. But when you look at it, there is like a sort of more updated look of class, and then the way Barbara is updated in my book was the best part, because in the original film Barbara doesn't do anything. She's just kind of sitting there. She's like comatose. Yeah, she's just comatose throughout the whole film. Like she's just nuts. Whereas in this one, I kind of see it like
action.
Yeah, after this one she gets pissed off after a while. She's like, all right,
very early, not even after a while, just like very early on. It's like as soon as like they're almost like practically done boarding up, and then like the first breakthrough happens, and she gets a chance she gets her first like moment with the rifle. It's just like, yeah,
is he dead? Bang. Is he dead? Like, you're all seeing this. Is he dead? Bang.
Is the rifle in the remake still a Winchester?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Still a Winchester, and then they have two rifles, a Winchester and a double barrel, which
okay.
For those of you who might hear this that are on TikTok, my very first video was uploading the X-rated version of the rifle shooting from the Night of the Living Dead remake. The Tom Savini got censored really hard on that one, so it was pretty interesting to see.
What was wrong with that?
So Tom is carrying around a double barrel, right? So there's a scene where when they're trying to go get to the gas truck in the remake, it's a little more exciting. Like they're actually being chased by zombies, and Tony Todd is like fighting his way through the zombies, trying to get onto the truck, right? And he throws a torch into the back of the truck, and he's trying to get on there. So the torch zombie walks up to Tom as he's getting onto the back of the truck, and the zombie reaches out. So then Tom pulls the rifle at point blank range and shoots the zombie, right? So Tom Savini pretty much made the effect look the way it would look for real, which is the head is pretty much vaporized on the zombie when he shoots it. Now, I've mentioned this before. I'm not one to like be like, okay, yeah, this wasn't too bad. I wouldn't have cut this. A couple of years ago, I would have argued, no, you don't need to cut it. But then a couple of years ago, earlier, I saw the footage of this guy on Facebook who went live. He had problems. I think he had PTSD or something. And he did it with a double barrel on live stream. I didn't know he was going to do it, but he did. And the effect is uncanny. It looks just like it. Mm-hmm. So before I would have been like, yeah, no, that wasn't too bad. But then after seeing, I'm like, no, I can see how that could disturb someone. So I understand why that effect was removed.
Now you see why.
Why
now that you know what it actually looks like.
Yeah, it looked way too real, so they removed it. Like, okay, I get it. Like that was way too real. So the zombie was too real, and it wasn't even like done in like a pizzazz way. It looked like it was a pretty much straightforward. They shot him, and the head blew off, and boom, done.
Yeah. I think that the way that horror is able to justify its kind of outlandish violence is that it is outlandish and cartoonish.
Yeah, this one wasn't cartoony.
It's like it's like real enough where it's like you kind of believe, oh, that person really did get killed, but it's not so real that it's beyond the bounds of taste. Like it's still not real enough that you're able to say, okay, it's a movie. You know, we're not actually doing like a deep dive into human suffering. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it was with that one. I saw that clip. I go, oh, okay, now I see why this got hit. Why the producers were telling Tom Savini to take it off him. Now I get it. Like, oh, okay, yeah, this was more than I think it should have been. But that was the X-rated version. I was actually fortunate to track down a copy of that myself a couple of months ago, about a year ago now. Mm-hmm. And I saw the rest of the censored stuff. It's out there. It took me a little bit of time to find it over the years, but I found it. And once you get into it, once you see it, you're like, oh, wow. Oof. This was I get it now. It's more of how people remember the 1990 original film. Even the soundtrack is a little different, and there's additional scenes to it. But it's still like, I enjoy the 1991. But, so, continuing on, Bolt, what did you think of Tony Todd as Ben?
I loved his performance. His disposition to like being opposed to clear nonsense, but also showing like very hesitant decision making when it comes to like following through with ideas that may or may not like jeopardize the group as a whole. but also seeing the value of needing to take the risk. You can see the pain on his face at every given moment, like what he's thinking, how he would like to respond, how he knows what like he has to put up with in order for the betterment of survival.
Mm-hmm.
Did he sound familiar to you?
Kind of did, yeah. Now you mention it.
Do you know who he is? You played a video game with him in it, like I think late last year.
I did.
He's Venom.
Oh, he was, huh?
That's Venom in your Spider-Man too. Yep, yeah, I knew it. Yeah, that's the sound of somebody going to go Google that. Yep, that's Venom, Tony Todd.
I already beat you to it. That is wild. I'm trying to think if I heard him or anything else, because I definitely don't recognize him. Oh, Young Justice icon.
Yep, he's also
and
Candyman.
Also Zoom. He also voiced. Yes, that definitely is the one.
He's one of my favorite all-time horror monologues. Tony Todd. I am the writing on the walls, the whisper in the classroom.
It's uncanny to hear him as a protagonistic voice of reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's either in like a very somber. Yeah, he's basically he swings between very heavy demonic antagonist voice or very somber protagonistic. He gets the job done.
Oh, that he does. That's also like Tony Todd is to me like in that group of guys where I'm like, damn it, man, I wish I would have seen you in better stuff when I was a kid. It's him, Bruce Campbell of the Evil Dead films, and then there's one more dude, Herbert West. He's in a bunch of shit, and I'm trying to remember his real name right now. The guy who plays Herbert West in Reanimator. He was also Scarecrow on the Batman animated series. He was also in the movie The Frighteners. He was that crazy secret agent. He was also Dr. Mordred in the knockoff Doctor Strange movie in Full Moon. And now I know who he is, and his name is drawing a blank, and I'm upset. Because like I've seen this guy 100 times. Oh shit, the helicopter's outside my house.
Yep.
I'm like, what in the
He's getting swatted. He's getting swatted, everyone. If we end up cutting the stream, that's why.
Hold on. Jack, are you coming to us live from a zombie movie?
Possibly. I do live in New York.
When the helicopters start to show up, it's not a good sign.
Shit. So that actually leads me to something else I talked about earlier this month on TikTok. Shit, helicopters are looking for somebody. They're like right around my building. Shit. Well, for those of you who saw Dawn of the Dead, I might be reliving that actual scene in the very beginning. Where, they raid the house. The cops raid that building with all the Spanish people inside of it. So, that might be a thing here.
Till it happens.
Jesus Christ, there's 1,000 pigs. Shit, that's above my building. Yeah.
Oh, we got some real drama happening.
Yeah, cool. This adds to the effect, folks. We're shooting content here. Jamie Lee Curtis has figured out where I live, and she's here for a showdown for all the shit that I've spoken about her like the past few months. She's here. This is happening.
Well,
she's coming to
I would like to say you didn't have this coming, but I will be lying.
Yeah, no, I had it coming. We all knew I had it coming.
Yeah. Let me close out on the parallels in Night of the Living Dead with in the 1990 version with like how the reversal that they took with both Ben and Harry's position at the end of the film. They started out with Harry arguing for the for the cellar, whereas Ben argued for top side. And you end the film with Ben dying alone in the cellar, listening to the radio of all the stuff that they could have told everyone in the beginning, but Ben already figured that out already by the end. Unfortunately, you have Harry sniveling self, hiding safely in the cellar, blocking off any and everyone's chance to find him if they were to somehow make it to the house that was zombie infested. Yeah, poor Ben comes out of the cellar when they finally chainsaw that puppy open, just to become back as a zombie. Mm-hmm. They kill him off as they should. Rest in peace, Ben. And then you have Harry coming out of the cellar, not dead from his gun wounds from Ben, talking to our lead best protagonist girl of the film, Barbara. It's like, oh, you came back. And she just caps him in a fit of rage.
I have to say that was one of the most satisfying end scenes in my book. He just fucking blew him away.
Like, I have questions. Like, what would you guys do if you were in her shoes? You come back, and the person that helped you turn you into the savage, competent survivor that you are during apocalypse is dead, and the person that pretty much put him, caused him to die, is living with a smile on his face. What would you guys do if you were in her position?
Oh, I'd fucking blow him away too. Fuck that guy. Everybody died so he could live.
Brad, what about you?
Fuck that guy.
Oh, to be fair, the teenage couple died in the most spectacularly stupid fashion in the 1990 version.
All right, so I'm about to step right in and start running defenses on even the antagonists here, because this is one of those things where somebody brought this up to me and I couldn't fight back. So
you're an antagonist apologist.
Yeah, and I fucking hate Harry Cooper. I fucking hate Harry Cooper. I gotta get too bad Tom Towles is dead. If not, if I ever met him, I'd be like, dude, thank you for making me want to punch you ever since I was a kid. You're a dick. But I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound a little fucked up and a little controversial, but I'll explain it. Harry Cooper was right. He was just an asshole about it, and thus you don't want to listen to him. But Harry Cooper was right.
I think you would go with this point, but I would say this. Both him and Ben were wrong.
So I'll explain why they were right.
Harry Cooper was right about.
So Harry Cooper was saying, go into the basement and everybody shut the hell up. Now, in theory, this is why he's right. By starting to barricade the house at the moment they started to do it, they're making a lot of noise. And the way the zombies are, and there's even one quick shot in the 1990 version where they hear the bang, bang, bang from the hammer. And the zombie's kind of like standing there, hears bang, 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 turns over, sees lights on, and he begins to walk over to the house. So, if in theory everything is happening the way that it is, then the zombies around the surrounding areas can hear them argue. They can hear them firing off rounds. They can see that the lights are on, because the lights are on. They hear the noise that they're making, and the zombies are attracted to the house, and they're coming to the house because they're barricading the house. Whereas, if they had all gone into the cellar, at that point, all right, fine, he's an asshole about it, and I wouldn't have gone into the cellar simply because I'm like, I can't trust this guy. I gotta know what he's talking about. But to go into the cellar, had they all gone down there and quietly discussed it, they could have all turned around and said, hey, yeah, I have a gas tank, but I have a truck. The other guy goes, there's a gas tank, but the keys are locked. All right, well, let's all look for the keys, but let's be quiet and look for the keys in silence so we don't make any noise, because these things might show up if they hear us. But that's not the logic. Harry Cooper is incapable of communicating the simple idea of everybody shut the hell up and go downstairs. If we stay up here and we start making noise, these things are going to box us in, right? Which ultimately does happen.
Mhm.
Enough show up. They knock down the barricades that they all had up on the walls. After they knock down the barricades that were up on the walls, they make it into the house. Enough of them see Ben go into the basement, and they aren't able to knock down the door because enough of them can't surround the door to knock it down. So,
the door was also reinforced.
Yeah, the door was
in a better way than the upstairs barricade.
The upstairs. So, but still, like, all they had to do was barricade and worry about one door. The other side of it too is you can kind of, I'm going to argue a little bit in the sense of you can also tell the class, everybody's social being has a difference to make. I'm going to make an assumption that Ben is somebody that ascended into middle, to like more or less middle class, working collar for the 80s, because there's a sequence in the remake where Harry is taking the TV downstairs, and as soon as Ben sees him, Ben's like, "What are you doing? That stays up here." And Harry, instead, talking like, "Hey, look, I'm not taking it downstairs. I'm putting it down. I'm putting it down right now." He's like, he just gets mad. "Would you back off?" And they start fighting, and they smash the TV, and they get into a real fight. When they get into a real fight, Harry basically yells at Ben, "I wasn't taking it downstairs. You can't get any reception in a basement, dickhead." Which basically means Harry Cooper has owned enough TVs that he knows this shit can't work downstairs, but let me bring it downstairs anyway. Ben sees him. He's already distrustful of him since this guy doesn't give himself the right to be trusted, and, tries to stop him from taking the TV. It goes more so to show, right, the other guy's not used to doing shit, neither Harry, because there was a radio in the basement that at no point in time does he stop to actually look for it. He's just kind of sitting there like, all right, I'm down here arguing with my wife. I'm not even going to look for the radio and at least play the radio on mute. This place around there doesn't even, like, it never occurs to him that he's sitting in a workshop to look for anything there that could be useful because his daughter's lying on a door. Never registers. He's just there pissed off. So, like, yes, he's a total asshole, but unfortunately, he sort of kind of had a point to just, yeah, maybe we should just turn off all the lights, go downstairs and be quiet. Chances are, some help will eventually make its way through here, which it does. The lynch mob eventually makes their way through the house. So, I hate Harry Cooper, but he sort of had a point. Now,
those are the best villains.
Yeah. In defense of Tom, it's not much to be defendable, but I'm going to defend him a little bit because I think what Tom did, any one of us would have done, except Tom wasn't a gentleman about it. So, what Tom is seeing is he has nothing but a double-barrel shotgun. So, how many bullets fit in a double barrel? It's not.
You mean how many shells?
How many? Oh God. How many shells? How many shells fit?
I'm that asshole.
Yeah, yes, you are.
Well, no, funny enough, this is a reference to Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, Ed.
He said the same exact thing in that movie.
Ed,
go ahead.
How many shells fit in a double barrel? Two. He fired one at the zombie trying to get onto the truck. So that means he has one shell. And he's running with a scared woman back to the house. And there's at least a gang of them waiting for him between that truck and the house. Now, in all fairness, when he shot the thing, shot the lock off, it wasn't the bullet that set off the tank in the remake. He has a torch in the back of the truck, and the stream from the hose hits the torch, and then the whole truck goes off. The flame chases up and blows up the torch, and that's what kills him. So it is stupid But he didn't do it like a gentleman. I actually going over to my fiance. I would have walked up to the front of the truck. You got 5 seconds to start running. Why? I'm going to shoot this thing. 5. You can't do that. Start running. 4. What do you mean? Start running. 3. I pull out the shell at that point. Start running. What you going to shoot this thing? Like, at this point, it's either I get blown away or I get eaten by these fucking things. 2. Start running. And at the end of the day, either she chooses to run or she chooses to, all right, fuck it, live free or die hard, right? But he didn't do that. He just kind of said, he's in his panic and anger, he didn't think straight, and he fired it in the adrenaline. And I'll point this out. When we're all sitting on our couches, we are all John Rambo. We all know what to do in those 5 seconds. But when you're in it for real, you get nervous, you get quaky, and you make stupid decisions to try to save yourself.
I mean, and part of me for saying this, I would say speak for yourself, because I've seen enough signs at gas stations to know not to use anything resembling fire or at anything rolling gas.
I mean,
that includes firearms. Like hell.
I would have hit the lock a few times with the butt of the gun.
Yes. I was getting to that.
I'm gonna also argue Uncle Reed just probably had a few punks try to steal his lock in the past, so he probably has one of those things that can't be undone. You probably have to shoot it off.
That's a speculation, because this was a remake. This is a 1990 movie of a remade from a 1968 movie. So I would seem to assume that it's safe to break it off with the button.
I'd argue more punks in the 90s went around stealing gas just to power their scooters to be dicks about it.
At least with Tom, it's just like, come on. It's like, if you were skilled enough, because it is possible, if you were skilled enough with a shotgun to shoot the lock off without damaging the gas line, which would then prevent the gas leak that led to blowing up their only means of transportation. That's why I would consider him an idiot. Because regardless of his girlfriend frantically yelling at him or not, at least consider the fact that you want to protect the main part of your guys' plan, the vehicle. Because they didn't have any idea where to get another one. And then as to at the ending of Harry being right, because the Lynch posse rolls through, they only rolled through because Barbara was with them. It was not going to be any guarantee they were going to hit that house when they did. Until after there was a whole horde of zombies that ransacked the place after Ben's basically poor decision of barricading. Although, I will concede to the fact that Harry was right, mostly right. I would say in staying in the cellar. He did not, however, say, "Oh, you had to be quiet," to hold up. And the thing I want to, I will hold on to the fact that he did not. It's the daughter that is the linchpin as to why he was still ultimately wrong, because he would have held up with their daughter, who was basically going to turn and kill everyone, who was basically a ticking time bomb in a sense. So that would have made his good judgment call to hold up quietly in the cellar.
Well,
the worst thing about for them.
2 dudes with guns could have easily overpowered his ass.
But then you left with the situation. Oh, here's the thing. You said 2 people with guns.
Tom and Ben both had the rifles going into the basement.
Yeah, but then you would have you would have set off a noise, which would then lead the zombies.
It's more muffled though in the basement.
I mean, from what they showed in the film, it was like you could barely hear it, but the zombies that was enough for the zombies to come. I think that would have still brought the same effect if they were to shoot the daughter, assuming that it would have gone off without incident. Because as you saw, when Harry had the gun, and when the daughter came up on the basement, he was basically trying to kill other people to protect his dead daughter that was going to kill everyone except for him for some weird reason. So he would have put up a fight. It would have been a harder fight than it was in the original ending because he would not have a gun in that instance. But he would have, the way how he basically almost got Barbara killed just to get the gun, even though he was basically useless with it until.
Well, at that point, he saw an advantage and he tried to take advantage of her that way by pushing her into the hands to get the gun.
Yeah.
However, I actually think had he not cowardly gone up against Barbara from behind, Barbara would have shot his ass right there. Had she saw what he was going to do, I think she would have shot him right there on the spot. She left him for dead. Like, she threw him to the hands and she's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I mean, she was not going to waste any more bullets on him.
She dropped the gun. He had the gun, but like he was useless because he was stuck. He was being pulled by the zombies. So then,
I mean, yeah, but had she killed him, he wouldn't have got a shot off on bed.
Yeah,
and he wouldn't have bled out.
But yes, so Night of the Living Dead. Those were 1990s remake. That was our discussion on that one. Did anybody see Dawn of the Dead 78?
I have, and I was trying to get a hold of it to watch it again, only to discover that it's not on streaming.
That's why I sent it to you, dude.
Illegally.
No, it's up on YouTube because they're fighting over the rights. So
I don't have an eye patch or a peg leg. I'm not going to pirate.
That wasn't. It was the. Never mind. There's a difference between the two ways of doing it, okay? And the one I was doing wasn't the way. But anyways.
Yes, I can vouch for that statement. We here at the Ghastly Hallows do not openly promote piracy.
Unless
we promote ethical piracy.
Yes, I promote ethical piracy. Like when I was trying to watch 28 Days Later, it wasn't available. So because it wasn't available, I'm going to turn around and pirate the living shit out of it until it gets available again. I'll pay for it.
I don't even bother. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead, 1978. It's on YouTube for anyone listening who's chance to see it myself either. I did get to see Shaun of the Dead, but let's continue with Dawn of the Dead.
I'm gonna say some stuff about Dawn of the Dead. But there's one thing that I made a video today about on TikTok that I did not know has been a sort of kind of quest out there for like the past few years. There's this zombie that shows up wearing this baseball outfit that says Box Arco Pitcairn on it. It's like this really weird. I'm gonna send you guys a picture of it on the chat. It's this really weird sort of like zombie wearing a baseball outfit, and that's all it says on the back. And what's weird about it is for years I thought it said Auto, but it doesn't say Auto. It just says Box Arco Pitcairn. And nobody knows what this is. Nobody knows what's Box Arco's Pitcairn. It's just some dude wearing like a baseball jersey with these words written on it. Box Arco Pitcairn. I'm gonna send you guys a picture of it because I've been trying to figure out what the hell that is. And nobody, apparently on the internet, nobody knows what it is neither. Send you this. And then we're gonna go right here. So I'm actually gonna use this as a moment. If anybody can go out there and tell me what that is, I will. And you subscribe to our podcast, you subscribe to the channel. If anybody can tell me what that is, I will send you guys one of the Krampus ornaments. If you tell me what Box Arco Pitcairn is, whoever is watching, I'm going to upload this to TikTok. Whoever is watching, if you can tell me what the hell is Box Arco Pitcairn, I will send you, DM me, I will send you one of the Krampus ornaments your way. I even see if we get a special one from the creator to do one that has written Ghastly Hallows on the back. But we want to know, what the hell is Box Arco Pitcairn? Because I've been looking this up for a while. There is no term for it. There is no place registered as Box Arco Pitcairn. So what the hell is that? There, guys, I did our first giveaway.
Call in now. Oh, the phone's ringing off the hook.
No, they're not yet, but I'm going to upload this shit later, see what happens. If anybody can tell me what it is, I'll gladly go for it.
It's like,
but yes. So, Red, you saw Dawn of the Dead 78 before?
I have a while ago. I don't know if I would be able to really be conversant in it. I do remember though that Ken Foree's in it, and I know him better as the dad on
Kenan and Kel.
Kenan and Kel. Yeah, Mr. Rockmore.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know.
Yeah, it is fun though, because like when they the series finale of Kenan and Kel was a mini horror movie, so it's like he's going back to his roots.
Yes, two heads are better than none, right?
Yeah, about the Headless Knight.
Yep, I remember that. I remember stumbling upon that too very randomly one day.
Yeah. It's worth watching, especially because Michael Berryman plays the butler.
Oh yeah, he does, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have to go
From
back
the Hills
and
and
watch
Miles.
that. Yep. And they work together. They would go on to work together again in a Rob Zombie.
Yeah. Devil's Rejects.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so we've been covering some specific movies. Do you guys mind if I ask some big questions?
Go for it.
Okay, so why are zombies scary? What do you think?
Well, I mean, they kind of tear people up into freaking pieces, and they get you in a group.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it's the presentation. Like, I think that some of the best films are able to kind of get the ambiance down right, which makes it feel like more so society is falling apart, and like the survivors you're watching are kind of like the last lifeboats of what was once the big cities, was once humanity.
Right.
78 Dawn of the Dead does a good job of capturing that, where like these people that you're hanging out with in that mall, they're kind of like the last. They feel like the last people left on Earth, you know? Like their days are numbered in that mall, and it feels like any day now, you know?
Yeah, it's like you don't know what's going on the outside.
Yeah. Like the world just passed them by.
Right, yeah.
And
now I like those kind of big those apocalyptic stories that are told from a relatively narrow perspective. So like I like how in Night of the Living Dead you slowly learn what's happening, like along with them, because your only contact with what's going on the outside is just what they see on TV, or what they hear on the radio mostly.
Yeah, that's it.
You're kind of like watching the crisis unfold. Like watching it gave me flashbacks to the early days of COVID.
Oh,
where it was like, where it's like, okay, this is the advice now, but now the advice has changed. You know, it started with stay in your homes, but now it changed to find yourself one of these public highway stations.
Yeah. And then towards the end, they're saying, please stay away from the stations. They might have been overrun.
Right, yeah. And they're telling you what they know and what they don't know. So it's like, okay, so we know that these are people that have been recently, that are recently deceased, but they're coming back. But and we know that if someone dies, they're going to rise up like 3 minutes later. But what we don't know is if you're injured by one of these things, what happens to you.
Yeah, they can't give you a straightforward confirmation as to what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, this feels way too real.
Ooh. So, pivoting into that one, I'm actually going to point something out. You and I were in contact due to our web sessions during lockdown, at least the first few weeks of lockdown. And I'll never forget our first big web chat. I pulled out that BB gun rifle thing.
What? Excuse me?
I have a BB gun rifle thing. It was hilarious. I pull it out, and our friend who's no longer with us, his eyes pop open. He's like, "Why do you have that?"
Oh, I can just hear that. Why do you have that?
This ought to be good.
I think I yelled out loud. I'm like, "To stop the zombies and the looters, boy." It didn't help that I was downing a bottle of vodka that he gifted me for my birthday earlier on in the year. So I was downing the bottle of vodka and I had one of those in my hands. And I'm like, it's time to fight them all. But to pivot into it though, like the very first few months of lockdown, I kind of handled it a lot like a zombie movie where. So my brother had the house that he had at the time. It had a very high stoop and a garden at the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a gate at the top of the stoop that had a spot for a lock, had a section for a lock in it. So I put a lock in that. And then the gate for the driveway had a lock in it too, right? He had like a knob for a lock. I locked that gate and then I grabbed a chain and I put a padlock on the chain on the gate as well. So even if they were able to open the gate, they still had to get through the padlock. I locked everything up, and at the time, my fiance, she was my girlfriend. We were staying together for like the majority of it. We stayed together, and she asked me like, "Why am I locking everything up?" I said, "Well, in all seriousness, it's more so just to put some barriers up because there were people fighting for groceries at the supermarket up the street." A lot of the houses people were from Trinidad on my block, so some people, as soon as like everything started, they got on the last few flights out of the country and they went back to their own countries to stay away from the trouble. So some of the houses on our block were empty. Like they were just empty. And maybe like I was one of the few people on the street for a good chunk of the time. So I told her I have to lock everything up because sooner or later some punk out there is going to get wise and they're going to start hitting houses. Now, I don't know if they ever did or didn't, but I remember it came in handy because I think it was about 3 months into lockdown, the George Floyd thing happens, right? And then up the street from my house, there was a casino there. And then people started like apparently rioting at the casino.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like maybe 2 blocks away. Like, oh crap. And I was by myself. So I had to go and double check. It was like being in a zombie movie. I had to go double check. I armed myself. I went to go double check all the locks, all the windows, make sure that everything was locked and barricaded. There was a window outside of the gate that could get into the basement. So I remember I set up, I jerry-rigged like a lock onto that window for a little bit just to make sure, like, all right, nobody's going to get in there. And I also locked the door going into it, and I positioned the dresser in front of the door. And that was like my makeshift office that night. But I pushed it in, and I made sure I'm like, all right, at least if they get in, they have to like really kick that down, which I doubt it. Most people just probably raid whatever in there and make the way back out. But I said I have to lock everything up because it's just me and her in the house. And I remember that night staying up and just listening to the radio until, things cooled down. But the majority of the time while I was in lockdown, like I stayed in the basement we stayed in the basement together for a good chunk of the time until like, people started to come back down into the city and the city started opening up again. But even then, when we would go buy groceries, we treated it like a zombie movie. We'd be walking to get groceries together, just her and we'd look at people, oh, someone without a mask, zombie. We'd walk away, hold our breaths, keep our eyes peeled. She would also like keep an eye out when we see somebody. We wouldn't say, like, "Oh, look, guy with no mask." It was, the moment you do that, they come and they start shouting at you. I have a right to not wear a mask. I don't have to listen to the law. Fuck it. I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm gonna do what Barbara did, where Barbara walked around them, to get away. Same
the gun pointed at arm's length, like, if you try me, I am ready, but I'm gonna walk around you to save the bullets.
Yeah, and it's just like similar concept. Like, just walk around them, don't say anything. If you say something, they're gonna start shouting. You're gonna get sick. And people, like, at that point, like, 99 people wearing a mask, one of them's not wearing them. They'll have like that cross-eyed look, like they look at you like, and what? Man, right, fine, dude. You don't want to wear a mask. Just stay the fuck away from me. You can do what you want, but stay away from me. I don't want to be around you. End of story. When we moved, it was something similar, and like I can gladly say, right, that watching all those movies helped because I didn't catch COVID until like 2 years in, and she didn't catch COVID up until late last year for the first time. So, zombie movies, a tutorial.
That's a
what to do and what not to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was like there was a moment there during lockdown where like I had relatives that like, oh, we need stuff out of the cellar, out of your garage. After a while, oh, we're dropping off stuff, and I had to tell my family, like, hey guys, you want to cut this shit out because we keep the house locked up. Oh, but it's not like, no, we keep the house locked up because I don't want visitors. It's just me and her here, and that's it. We don't have people coming in. We don't have people coming out. Because even though our friend who usually joins us on the chats, usually a big commentator, lived up the street, she didn't visit us during the whole like main period of lockdowns. Like, no, you're not. We don't want anybody here, And even I said, like, nobody comes over here. We don't want anybody here until like the coast is a little more clear, or at least we know what to do. Because you remember, like, in that first month, like, nobody knew what to do.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and that's another thing that kind of echoed COVID when I was watching Night of the Living Dead was that nothing like this had ever happened before. Like the reporters on the news were like, we know how this sounds and we know nothing like this has ever happened before, but this is what's really happening. And it was kind of like, that's how you felt during lockdown. It's like, who do we look to? Like, nothing like this has ever happened before in anybody's lifetime that's alive, or like very few people. Like there was the 1918 Spanish flu, but like not in living memory. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, that was like 100 years before. And so one more just very fun lockdown fact. I got so mad at myself for doing this. I had a game in my roster for like 3 years, right? It was called Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing Vampire, and I realized that it takes place during the era of the Spanish flu.
Mm-hmm. And
there are people walking around with masks on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of literature saying, stay home, save lives. At which point, I think Crystal heard me shout. They heard me shout from the basement, why the fuck did I pick this game? I should have played Kingdom Hearts instead.
No, that's a safe bet.
Because it's a doctor legit fighting against the influenza, and I'm like, why am I playing this? Why?
Right.
Too real. You want escapism.
Yeah.
Well, my wife Clara got into the habit of playing solo games of Pandemic during COVID.
Ooh.
My goodness.
It's like, what masochism is this that I'm walking in on?
Yeah, of all the games, you can't play a game of solitaire? Come on.
You know what? Just so you guys don't feel alone. Funny enough, I probably waited until I think it was 2020. Yeah, it was 2020 last year. A solo game that I love playing was Control, which you play as a person who is dealing with an infestation in a government agency. And the people, it's not so much like it's akin to a disease, but, they look disease-ridden, like it's a very paranormal type of thing. But, yeah, I understand the sentiment.
Yeah, you're like, why am I playing this?
Mm-hmm.
Right as the world is locking down, I'm like, I'm doing this. Everyone in the world right now, I'm like, is focusing on three things: playing video games, Joe Exotic, and the pandemic. Podcasts. That's what everybody was thinking about in those days. And I'm over here playing Vampire, and I'm like, why am I playing this? Why? And then I got coerced by somebody into starting Dead by Daylight. And I never looked back. That is a great game though, Dead by Daylight.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
I have a friend that disagrees on that, but that's an interest.
But what other questions you have, John, based on zombieism, zombie outbreaks, zombie breakouts?
Zombie breakout. That's different from.
I'm trying to think of a proper term.
What would you guys do?
Sounds like a dance.
Like, do you guys have like a checklist of what you would like to do or what you're going to do if a zombie outbreak were to happen? Would you like follow like the stuff in the movie? Would you?
Oh, I keep it all written on a whiteboard on the refrigerator.
Okay, all right.
So, given where I live, if this were to happen at the same speed it happens in the film, I'm pretty much fucked. Like, I would probably have to make my way. Like, I have a bat. I've always kept a bat for home security in the house. So I have a bat. I would probably have to wind up taking the bat and seeing if I can make my way out onto the street. Once I'm out onto the street, my car is in a garage that is underground and they need to get it out with an elevator. So if that is gone, then I'm fucked. I can't go anywhere. Because I have to that's the only way I can get out of the city. And even then, getting out of the city would be another one because there's going to be so much gridlock. I'm probably going to be those people, like my zombie would be the one in the cars whenever the people who are, waking up in a coma walk past. Because there's no way out of the city unless maybe somehow I can barter a boat out of the city. Or a helicopter like in Dawn of the Dead. But how many people do you know that have a helicopter? How many people do I know that has a helicopter, right? So at that point, I can't swim for shit. Running through the forests wouldn't be an option neither. So at that point, there's no other option for me other than this is it, right? Like, if I can make it somehow over to the Bronx on foot, good luck.
All the way where you're from?
Yeah, from Queens through, fight my way through zombies, hordes from Queens. That's not happening because, it's a congested city. It's done. We're done. I'm screwed. Now, if you live in a rural area, right, or at least a suburb, you have a better chance. Because in a suburb, you have two options. You can, for example, Long Island, right? Both of you guys are Long Island natives.
Don't remind me.
Well, I'll remind you because
Hey, what of it?
you got a better chance. If you're a Long Island native, you have two options. North of Long Island is the border to Connecticut. So if you can get yourself a boat across, which there are more chances for you to get a boat across into Long Island, you get on the boat and it gets you to open land over onto that side. From there, you're able to make your way through a little bit more isolation and space, right? There's a more of a wide open space. You're not congested. It's a lot easier to kind of maneuver and finagle yourself around. Whereas where I live, it's congested as shit here. I'm screwed.
So what if the zombies can swim?
Well,
What if they swim with
in Romero's version, they do swim.
like
They walk under the
dolphin
water.
like? Wait, all right, because I have this horrifying image of like zombies swimming the way they run in 28 Days Later.
Oh my goodness!
Like they're just like they're hopping in and out of the water like dolphins. They're just coming right at you.
The thing is, though, the deeper you get, like they have to have like Super Saiyan powers to hit the bottom of the ground and jump up a lot. Like sooner or later, like yeah, if they swim, but your boat can at least keep going, their clothing and stuff is gonna sop them and weigh them down, whereas the boat is meant to go. So,
What about the whales?
I mean,
sharks, our friends of the ocean. They should stop them.
oh right,
Right?
Yeah,
have you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
been watching Zom
Leave it to the
100?
killer whales. Yeah.
I'm curious. Have you guys been watching ZOM 100?
I've heard good things about it, but no.
Because there is like a robotic killer shark zombie in that one, and you guys are just reminding me of that right now. So at that point,
Good idea is taken.
actually, to just rip off of something else, like at that point, if this happens and I'm stuck in New York City the same way that guy was like stuck, I think in like Osaka Tower or like Tokyo, I start making a list of the things I want to do before I become a zombie, and I just try and do them. Like, at that point, we're gonna die anyway. Might as well have some fun, no? Or is that too morbid?
No. I mean, that is what's morbid would be my approach. It would be trying to see how many people I have to fight before meeting a peaceful end. Because,
there's
because the people, if a zombie outbreak were to occur, it's the people that are not the zombies that are my main concern. Because they're the more likely the ones that are going to get you killed.
I believe we should attempt diplomacy with the zombies as a first step.
First to go. I'm sorry, you are the first to go.
Don't just shoot from the hip,
We zombie have feeling too. We don't want to be brain. Sounds like a
treaty proposal.
Are you sound like the Hulk? The Hulk is not a zombie.
This turns into a Hulk impression.
Who's a muncher? I'm not a muncher. You're a muncher. Oh my god.
Dad, we did something really terrible.
Did you fix the car okay?
Sorry. Did you wreck the car? No. Did you raise the dead? Yes. But the car's okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's funny. It's like I don't know whether or not if I want to go with a car or learn to ride a motorcycle in the zombie apocalypse. Because a motorcycle, you get a lot of maneuverability, and you can actually go on highways with it.
The best thing to have is a bike. Believe it or not.
I would have to pedal.
Yeah, but
unless you're talking about an electric bike,
you make less noise with a bike.
I mean, yeah, but like an electric bike, you get the same benefit and it's more efficient.
Well, it's a trade-off. Like you make less noise with the bike, but you don't get as far.
Yeah, but like that's the one I keep hearing. It's like it would be a bike. The bike goes a little faster. You make less noise with the bike, and on top of that, if you have to pick it up you're more likely to be able to pick up the bike than you are, a couple of other things. So like that's one thing I've heard, but really like you can get far, but you're less limited. Whereas a car, you need gas. Electric bike, you need some connected to something with power to charge the battery. From there, a skateboard can only get you on certain things, and it's not good on anything. It's not a flat surface. Same goes for scooters. Same goes for motor scooters. Whereas a bike, you keep pedaling, you'll make it sooner or later. And the bike chains are durable; they tend to last. So I've heard that like be the numerous thing. A lot of people say it's like it would be a bike. You couldn't do it on anything other than a bike. And since most people would probably look for a car, you would most likely wind up finding a lot of bike shops that still have their inventory on hand, because nobody would want to, nobody would really think about, like, oh yeah, I want to, until I kind of ruined it for everybody now. Thank you, anybody subscribe. Like I said, I'm doing a giveaway. If you tell me what box Arco Pitcairn is, I will gladly send you a Krampus Christmas ornament, and I'll see if I can get something done on the back for you. Until then,
this is a limited time exclusively Ghastly Hallows offer.
Yes, it is. You can DM me over on TikTok. You can DM me over on Instagram to find us out. That's the only way I can figure this one out. But anyways, to the point, the whole thing is, though, like, the bike would be the best option to do, and it's also like pretty interchangeable. You get the wheels, you can even carry the stuff to maintain the bike on your person, pump and everything. You don't need like specific air like you do for a tire. You don't need gas, oil like you do for a car. But yeah, so bike I've heard is the best one.
Well, it depends on the region you're in. If they're in like a like either in like a urban, suburban, plain settings, fine. But like if you can't take a bike with you to the jungle, to
actually you can.
Any snow. Wait, which place? The jungle?
You would get you would have to switch the tires, which you could find in the area for all terrain.
There's mountain bikes. Surely there's jungle bikes.
There are. They have them. They're more like forest terrain type bikes.
Right.
But you wouldn't. My argument is you wouldn't need a bike if you're in those type of terrains, because the environment itself functions as a natural defense mechanism. Again, you never find a zombie in the tundra or in the Sahara Desert or in the Amazon rainforest.
Oh, that sounds like a great movie, though.
There is a movie about that. Yeah.
Arctic zombies.
It stains the sand red.
Does that take place in the Arctic?
It takes place in the Sahara, I think.
Okay.
Or the Mojave Desert. So like the whole point of it is there's this lady who's like running from a zombie, but she doesn't have anything to kill it. So she can only run for like small bursts. She has no energy, and the zombie's like right on her ass, but she can only run so far, but the zombie keeps following her along.
Already mentioned Arctic zombie. I mentioned that. You mentioned now desert zombies. All right, we don't have a movie about zombies in the jungle yet.
Yeah,
zombies are a very adaptive species. They can be found in a variety
of
of
zombie movie in the jungle. It's called Hell of the Living Dead.
Gotta be kidding me.
It's I think it's by director Lucio Fulci. It's also known as Zombie Virus. It's one of those Italian exploitation zombie movies from Italy from like late 80s, early 70s. It's
space zombies.
Space zombies.
They haven't had space zombies, and I swear, if you pull a title out of your ass, I'm leaving.
About space zombies?
Yes. Not infected. Space zombies. Because we've seen a lot of movies where
I'm sure there's a movie called that very thing.
Night of the Creeps.
All right, I'm done. All right, we had a good.
Night of the Creeps.
We had a good run.
Night of the Creeps.
Call button real
The
quick.
slug monsters come in and they multiply inside the human body, then they spit the slug out. Night of the Creeps. Tom Atkins, great movie. Come on, man. You keep coming up with scenarios. I guarantee you they've made a movie about it.
Oh, you know what? Time traveling zombies. They haven't done that yet.
Marvel Zombies.
Hate you.
What about zombie bears?
Actually, yes. Yes, I have seen a zombie bear before. I'm trying to remember where. I think it was in a video game, and I think I saw a zombie bear in a movie itself.
I know
time.
there's a zombie shark.
Right.
Yeah, it was a zombie shark. Zom 100 had a zombie shark.
No, not that. Resident Evil.
Yeah,
4.
Resident Evil probably had one too. We all want to forget those movies exist.
The advantage of being a zombie shark is you don't have to keep swimming.
No, you don't. All right, name a scenario, man. I'm pretty sure I've seen the movie.
Lay it on me.
Keep going.
I mean,
Think of it.
it's pretty much it. If you already called me with the time traveling zombie, which I'm like, you kind of became me with that. But like, the only thing that would could surpass that is a cosmic zombie, because that's the only thing that's the only thing that can like supersede time zombie.
Galactus.
Not a zombie. But wait. Oh, you're referring to that line of comics.
Galactus. He eats the galaxy, you know?
Not a zombie though. He's
The Marvel zombies become galactic zombies too. When they eat the Silver Surfer, then Galactus shows up and they eat Galactus, they take his power and then they go across the universe eating the galaxies.
all right. I humbly bow out.
John, you got any?
I got no.
No matter how much of the galaxies they eat, they're just like it's still not as good as brains, you know.
Yep. John,
Brains just do it for me.
you got any weird scenarios? Come on, lay them on me. I'm open for business. I've seen so many zombie movies, especially when I was depressed a couple years ago. Like I just binge watched a whole shitload of them, and I'm like, wow, this is a zombie movie for everything. Like everything.
Is there an Amityville zombie movie?
That's more for ghosts. Amityville's more about ghosts.
There is an Amityville zombie movie though. It's an
So-
Amityville.
Got to be kidding.
We can talk about this
I'm
at some
calling, I'm
point.
calling your bluff on this one.
There's Amityville exploitation out there, man. Movies that
Yes.
don't even film there. I think there is an Amityville zombie movie though.
So, like, my impression is that there's an entire subgenre of horror movies, or maybe just like an entire subgenre of marketing teams that just name a horror movie, Amityville something or other, even though it has nothing to do with anything that happened in
That's
Amityville.
exactly what it is. Like if you just
Yeah,
film
they just
a
call
movie
it
about a guy
Amityville horror.
taking a dump, but just say it's the Amityville shit, and the people will be like, all right, we'll go see it. It might be scary, but it's just a dude sitting there taking a dump, possibly somewhere in Dayton, Ohio. But you can't see the signs. It's just Amityville. It's just as far as you know, the toilet's in Amityville, and it's just him there, maybe reading and doing some Sudoku on the can. But they said it's Amityville.
I mean, that toilet looks like an Amityville toilet to me, and I should know.
I can't find the Pacific movie from that genre that's like zombie oriented. Unless that's Amityville 3D.
But you know what's
Like,
the weirdest zombie movie I've ever come across, though? This one was just so odd.
Huh?
It was by the guy who filmed Peter Jackson did this one. We call it Dead Alive.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I was reading about that one earlier.
Oof. I actually saw that shit when I was a kid. And I'm like, I thought it would get weirder. But then this movie just like hit my radar and I saw it and I'm like, ugh. I don't know if any other zombie movie can get as weird as this one. It's like a zombie getting pregnant and giving birth to another zombie monstrosity, and the guy then takes a zombie in a park to go hang out.
All right. So, have you ever seen a movie called Fido?
Yes, I've seen Fido.
Yeah. So, Bolt, have you heard of that one?
Nope.
Okay, so it is a boy and his dog story, except the dog is a human zombie. So it's meant to be kind of like in that like Old Yeller, Marley and Me format, where there's a kid that has a dog, but it's just like it's the zombie apocalypse that's happening, and some kid finds a zombie and turns it into his pet.
Yeah. And then like they like the dog, they like the pet dog zombie more than they like the dad.
The dad that bad? You have to be like a scum of the earth father for a literal dead person to be better than you.
No. Yeah. Kind of what it is. They like the dad, they don't like him. They like him, they don't like the dad. Like, we want the zombie, not you.
You know you have to reevaluate your life choices if that ever happens, right? You're losing to a literal corpse.
Well, like zombie events are events where people learn a bit about themselves, like how they perform under pressure, and maybe what their relationship with their father is like.
Okay, now you're just starting to summarize parts of Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Plays dad with stepdad.
Right, yeah.
But it's true, though. Like, it's one of those moments. Like, he... Honestly, why I like Shaun of the Dead above some of these other films is because Shaun of the Dead is what happens when regular people go through the zombie apocalypse. Like, I love when he finally gets the Winchester rifle and he can't hit anything with it.
He missed so much. Like he got some shots off, but like so many missed.
He's like, I will fire. He's firing and he just misses the shot. And you're like, damn, dude, don't you play video games? Like, you should know at least to look down the sight before you fire. What are you doing?
Like, to be fair, he had a dart thrown into the side of his head, which that was spectacular how she managed to do that. She had just hit the zombie prior to that shot, too. Like, how?
A shotgun would be better in a situation like that.
I mean, if you want to kill both of them, yeah.
Yeah. Her aim was inconsistent. I don't want to trust any one of those fools.
Hell no. The spread from the shotgun would do it. If you had the spread from the shotgun hitting you in that area, like if you would have hit the zombie, it would have hit him too.
Right.
Blown his face right off.
I would like to say Ed. Oh my goodness, he hated that character more than Danny. Than I hated Harry.
No, I have to go back and I fucking hate Harry Cooper. I've gone on record on TikTok on numerous occasions like, what's a horror villain that you hate more than the monster? And I'm like, Harry Cooper. Fuck Harry Cooper.
But this he was fine. Competent. He's more competent than Ed.
No, he's not. Because at least Ed was a little more like compassionate. Was a little like more, empathetic.
No, he wasn't.
He was a fucking idiot.
He was not empathetic. He fucked the first car that they had. The brother.
He wanted to drive a Jag.
Yeah, and he fucked up the car so much that he could get the Jag. That's not empathetic. This is being stupid and selfish. How do you just ram a car that is parked into a pole that is like 800 feet from you? Like, it takes spectacular skill to do that.
It wasn't his car or Sean's car. It was the fucking guy. He hated his car, so he smashed it.
Yeah, but like, he could have had two cars. He could have kept the Jag for himself, and then everyone else rides in the other car that he didn't want. Mm-hmm. Win-win. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but at the end of the day, I'm still gonna I hated fucking Ed. I hated him, but I did feel bad when Ed got killed off.
I did not feel bad at all. I felt like that should have happened sooner, and he couldn't even get off his Molotov cocktail idea. It's like he like the one good thing he was going to do, and then the zombies just like blocked him like they were playing basketball. They just stuffed him. He's like, no, you're not doing that. I was just like, really, really? How are these zombies acting more intelligent than you are, and you're a living person for the next 5 minutes? that guy.
Doesn't he remind you of someone? Maybe
Yes, that's another reason why I hate him more.
Oh, then here's what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. I had to pull the Band-Aid on that one.
Bleeding as much as Cooper's mother was. The fact that she held that and kept that from everyone until she did was impressive. Like the pain tolerance on that woman was spectacular. Her poker face was crap, but her pain tolerance is immaculate. I gotta give her a round of applause for that.
I do too. Actually, just to wax a little bit more poetic in 1990, Night of the Living Dead, I have to give everyone in that one glowing reviews with their performances, down to the zombies. That was a great film. I know it gets it gets overlooked, and a lot of people go like, "It's not as good as the '60s one," because
I want to see the '60s ones now, but hopefully the zombies in that one aren't as OP as the ones in the 1990 ones.
They're not.
I'll have to give the 1991 a shot because, like, when I hear, and I'm one of the people that's overlooked it, because when I hear that a film that is like as influential as and standard setting as Night of the Living Dead has been remade, I'm like, wait a minute, it's already been remade. Like, not formally, not explicitly, but with how widely imitated it is and how well known it is. It's like, I feel like there's really nothing more that you could do, or there's nothing that would set it apart as a true remake from just the imitators.
So normally, right, I would agree, but the thing with this one was Tom Savini was supposed to work on the original, and then he got drafted. So,
okay.
But then Tom Savini would go on to work on the other two, on Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead.
Right.
So the effects guy and the guy he's pretty much the effects guy, and he also pretty much had the whole thing like known as to how it was going to be. And what I did like about this one was it's not as much as a remake as it is an update. And I have to like really stress that. It's more of an update. It's in the sense of everybody looks what I think George Romero was trying to get them to look like, but he was on a budget. And lastly, and this is going to sound a little bit shilly, and I'm not one to just shill something like this, but if you actually want to support financially the estate of George Romero and the screenwriters of the original film and all that stuff, then you want to go and get the 1990s version, because they actually make money off of that one.
They make money off that one, yeah.
They don't make money off of the original one. So even if you hate the remake, go buy a copy and then donate it or something. But if you want to support the estate of the late George Romero, I would always suggest this. Go buy a copy of the 90s one, because then they at least get something, versus every time you go buy the black and white one, they're not guaranteed anything because it's a public domain film now.
Right, yeah.
So I recommend that one. Like I always liked both of them, but even more so lately when we're getting, especially in this climate, where we're getting a lot of people saying, we want representation. You guys are looking in the wrong places. You're waiting for the mouse to do it. Go ahead and watch some horror films, all right? Like, Night of the Living Dead 1990 is, in my opinion, more of what we should have, where you have people working together. The characters go through arcs, especially Barbara. Barbara goes through a huge arc. Like, I can't sing Barbara's praises enough. She's more realistic. Like, after a while, I don't think someone will be comatose on the couch. I think after a while, someone will get pissed off of being bossed around, or pissed off that people are acting like idiots, or just pissed at the situation as a whole. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be around these zombies. I don't want to deal with these idiots. But these idiots are in here fighting over stupid shit like the TV and the radio. I'm out of here. Right? And it's like right after the TV breaks out that she goes and she opens the door, pulls the rifle out. I'm like, all right, is that your uncle's body? Yep. Would he have the keys in the pocket? And they go start searching for the keys. He's like, I'm out of here. Like, this is not a good idea to be here anymore. These people are stupid. They're fighting. This is not. I'm gonna die over stupid shit with these people. I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like, I actually showed that one to my fiance. When I showed it to her, she went through it and she's like, you know, I looked at her. I'm like, this character reminds me of you. And she's like, how so? I'm like, I have a feeling you would do everything that she does. Like, after a while, she's like, okay, this skirt is useless because it's torn. It's not practical. She pulls whatever pair of jeans is there and she just puts the jeans on. She's like, all right, just put these hunting pants on. She takes off her button-up blouse because it's too baggy and it can get caught. She's walking around in a tank top. But she's more so like, yeah, it's not a practical thing to do. She needs to survive, and this stuff she's wearing is dangerous. You know, it can get caught. They can grab at it. She can get stuck. A pair of pants is a lot safer for her to be walking around in. You know, it's small little things like that, but I point out, like, I personally think in today's climate, more people would behave like her than they would like the original one, where she's just kind of like, 3 a.m., 3 a.m., the bus man's coming by 3 a.m.
I don't know. I feel like there'd be more people that would behave like the catatonic version from.
I think for like the first hour until you're jolted right back into reality, like, oh shit, no.
Yeah. But funny enough, like in the 1990 version, she indirectly gets her brother killed, like in spectacular fashion. Like she stabs his hand.
Oh, yeah, and that's also way more dynamic in the 1990s version than it is in the 60s one. The 60s one, he just kind of falls back and hits his head a little bit against the stone.
He steps on her heel, one of her heels.
Yeah.
And then, oh man, it's just after technically kind of like accidentally, indirectly hitting him, like getting like shots that. Oh, him getting stabbed in the hand was the most detrimental up until when he steps on her one of her heel shoes, and then
stabbed in the head. Jeez.
She stabs him in the hand. So like So basically, right, it's the same beat for beat plot, right? Like they go with the crucifix thing that you like plant into the ground, right? And you put it on the. It's like you stab that into the ground. So when the zombie attacks the brother, she starts to kind of like join in and tries to stab the zombie guy too. But where she stabs him, she stabs zombie, the pike goes right through the brother's hand.
Oh.
She's flailing at this point. She's just like trying to get the zombie
wherever
off.
the hell. Yeah, she's just trying to stab and like they're wiggling around, so she accidentally hits him in the hand. At which point, when he stops to grab his hand, the zombie grabs the brother, and he trips, and then like the head hits the tombstone.
Yeah.
And like his neck goes. That's how they do it in the 90s one. Whereas in the original one, he just kind of falls back and he hits his head on the corner, and then that's the end of Johnny. And then you see him again as the zombie when he kills Barbara.
Well, he doesn't kill her on screen; he just drags her off, right?
He drags her off, but there's no way that bitch made it out of that one. She got torn to pieces. She got disemboweled. She got disemboweled off camera. There's no way she made it out of that one. You tell me a way she makes it out of that one, and I'll be like, all right, fine. I'll give you another weird plot for a zombie movie. Zombie beavers. That was a thing. Zombie beavers was a thing. I need to make that known. There was a movie out there called Zombeaver, where zombie beavers attack a cabin, and if they bite you, you grow buck tooth like a zombie beaver. Yeah.
I think I had my fill of.
I got more
stories. I'm sure you do.
The weirdest one I ever saw, which I never got to say, was one about a vampire living through the zombie apocalypse. It was the weirdest shit ever. Like this guy.
Wait, what was it?
A vampire living through the zombie apocalypse. Where he's like, wait, where's my food? What the hell am I supposed to eat now? Zombies are eating all my food.
Why don't you just go vegan or just eat animals?
The
And yes, I consider him eating zombies going vegan.
fuck? It's not
Oh,
Twilight.
this could be an interesting, like, abstract debate. Like, if there were zombies, would they be vegan, or would the zombies themselves be a vegan food?
That came up in the movie.
Oh, damn it!
Remake
Yeah.
of Day of the Dead 2008. Nick Cannon was in that one. Mina Suvari, Nick Cannon, Ving Rhames. The zombie.
Did they go through the whole question of, I mean,
The zombie.
they were living, but they're not living anymore, so you can't really kill them.
So here's what happened. One of the zombie soldiers gets infected, and he was a vegetarian. So because he was a vegetarian, he refuses to eat people.
Oh.
The zombie just doesn't find the human, doesn't want to appetize or go against the humans because he's, used to being a zombie. He's a vegetarian or whatever, so he doesn't eat zombies. Yeah, doesn't eat people.
Yeah, I could see getting comfortable as a zombie.
Yeah, he's a zombie, so he never ate He only ate vegetables in life, so he chooses not to eat people as a zombie. There you go. That was in a movie. Keep going, man. I'm telling you, I've probably seen something.
This vaguely touches on something that I was interested in talking about. So, it appears that with that character, there is still a bit of him in his zombie form.
Yes.
Yes. And I think that sometimes the question that goes through my mind when I'm watching a character turn into a zombie, or like, you see a character that was living but is now undead, how much of them is still in there? Like are they doing things in zombie form that are sort of equivalent to the sort of things that they would do in accordance with their living personality?
The problem with that question is it leads people to do what usually happens when, like, someone that you love, a loved one, is turned, and then you're unable to kill them as they are either literally killing you or someone else around you.
Exactly, because you don't really believe that it's no longer them, because it's their face, and you don't want to be the one to kill them again. It's just like everything, all the evidence you see around you. The zombies, there really doesn't seem to be anything going on inside any of these zombies other than I need to kill more people. But when it's your loved one, it's like I just don't believe that it's not them in there, and I don't want to be the one to snuff out what little light of them is left.
I don't know. It's like logic being turned off just for the sake of emotional attachment. It's just like, because you've been dealing with like a zombie caucus for like 5 hours straight, and then you see like your cousin, and it's like, oh, I can't do it, and it's like, you have someone right behind. It's like, if you don't take that person out, they will kill us all. I will take out this person, but then the moment you say insert that type of cold, callous type of logical thinking, then you become an enemy, and then your life is doubly at risk. Then you have a zombie and a live human that are both were trying to kill you just for that sentence alone.
So I'm actually gonna point out that is a very common theme. And I've actually gone over that question in my head like a bunch of times. Would I be able to do it? Would I be able to do it? And then during lockdown, I heard of people that were going through the whole, like, they were upset that they couldn't be by their loved one's side during the final moments because of COVID was so infectious.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember thinking to myself when I was hearing that, what if they were zombies? Like, what would I do?
Right.
And after a while, like, in my reasoning turned into, they're probably suffering. They're probably always eternally hungry. And I know for us, we've never felt this before. We live in a very, like, good country. But hunger is the worst feeling in the world. it's worse than fever, especially when it's prolonged and it can't be satiated. Your body starts to shut down. Your head starts to hurt like permanently. You feel like you're on fire. Then imagine that like your body entirely shuts down, and its basic function is to say it's hungry. You're gonna get all kinds of fucked up. You're gonna be pissed off all the time, like they are. So, and they're never full. Like they maybe you always see them eat something, and then they go right up to the next one. So, my theory would be, I think like I said before, we're all John Rambo and from the couch, right? Until we're in the moment. However, I think I would look at it as a mercy, or like a euthanizing somebody. Like, all right, you can't go on. You're a danger to yourself. You're a danger to others. I think it would be the best thing to, put you out with some dignity. That doesn't mean, start stabbing away at the person like, I hate you. It's like, all right, we'll find a way to do it with some dignity, put you down.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
If a doggo can be put down with some humanity, then I believe that, if a human turns into a zombie, they should also be put down to put them out of their misery. It's more of a merciful thing. Sorry if that's a little too deep, but it's like
no. I mean, I like how we're getting into it.
Yeah. But,
stronger man than Herschel was from The Walking Dead, because he chose the opposite. He chose to like keep all the zombies that he ever came across on his farm in a shed, locked up, to avoid, because he saw them as still human.
He did, but also in Herschel's like odd. I couldn't defend him too much, but in his odd defense, in his eyes, someday there might be a cure. But really, man, when somebody's rotting and their fingers are falling off and other appendages of their body, even if they come back to life, the question is, do you want to continue? Your balls have fallen off. Do you want to continue?
Yeah,
do you want them to kill you?
Yeah, your appendage has fallen off. Your jaw is gone. Your stomach is still hanging out of your of your torso, and you're missing your eyelids. Why would you want to cure someone of that? Because if you cure them, they basically go coming back into a living hell.
That's a good question. Like, if there's a cure, does everything grow back, or do they just become themselves again?
Yeah.
But they're still physically a zombie, but they're mentally back, and so they're fully aware of how grotesque they've become, and it probably hurts like hell.
To steal from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, if I woke up like that, I would just run to the nearest living thing and kill it. You imagine waking up, no fingers, maybe like 2 or 3 fingers left on your hands. Your joints are like basically stuck in rigor mortis. Your flesh is rotted.
Yeah.
So you're feeling this. And then you look at the doctor that dared to revive you in this state. I think you're going to go for it. Like, I'm already dead. I'm going to hug the life right out of you, doctor.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to hug the life right out of you, Fry Man.
Assuming, well, the thing is, you're not a zombie anymore. You don't have that zombie strength, so you couldn't even kill the doctor, even if you wanted to.
Yeah, you're going down trying. You're gonna go down trying. There's no way. You can't
going
let
out
that
sadly.
One pass. Yeah.
If that doctor somehow still dies to you in such a weakened state, and he kind of had that coming. He kind of needed to go out that way.
Yes, he did. You should not have played God with that one. You should have just let the person go.
Yeah.
You brought that horrible, miserable death onto yourself. You should have let that person just die.
Well, I mean, like, allowing death to occur is different from hastening it. So I think that would be that would be part of the hesitation with a mercy killing. It's like, the intention may be merciful, but I'm still killing somebody. Or am I? It's a zombie. Like, is it still a person?
Yeah, but again, it's back to being merciful. It's like, what do we do with the rabid dog?
Well, yes, we do that with dogs, but they're dogs. Like
Okay.
we've kind of decided that it's okay to do that with animals, but with people, the rules are different.
Yeah,
People are
again,
animals than people. I I don't know about that.
well, let's make sure we're kind of glad some of the dog lovers aren't currently listening and giving opinions tonight. I think we would have gotten the pitchforks out.
I think even most dog lovers would agree that I myself am a dog lover, and I acknowledge that the rules are different.
They are different in this
Yeah.
in like the day to day, but I go back to it like if they can have a dignified one, I believe it as a mercy thing, you know.
Hmm.
But again, purely merciful, because I believe that again they're probably suffering. I have yet to see one. Well, no, fuck. I did see a movie where the zombie smiled. I kind of wish I hadn't seen that one, but I did. It was so stupid too. Like the zombie like does a cocky smirk. I'm like, what? Why? Why Romero
See,
would
that's
do
when
that?
it becomes no longer a zombie, because that's like showing a crisp emotion. And I think that for zombies to be zombies, there can't be anything obvious going on upstairs. Like it has to, because like more broadly, like beyond uh, zombies as just like um, the living dead. Zombie basically means a a mindless being of some kind. So like when you go back to the movies with zombie in the title, but when that word first starts to become popular, and the source material that they were using from Caribbean folk tales, those were people that were under some kind of spell, that they weren't acting of their own free will, and there was a sense that they weren't even conscious of what they were doing. They had become these kind of automatons. And so like that, with the broad view, that's what a zombie is.
So
And so I think that the thing that makes zombies scary, like at the deepest level, is it's that the body is still there, but the self is, but the self is gone,
you
and
lost the
that
humanity.
that yeah, that to me is the most disturbing part. It, yeah,
So do you want to know something interesting that I had to read about when I was doing my college degree?
please.
So there was a case, I believe it was the Dominican. I'm not sure it was the Dominican Republic or Haiti, where there was a dad whose son went missing, and he went looking for this son because the police were like, well, if he's missing, he might be. I think it was in the DR. The kid went missing. The police were like, well, if we can't find him, chances are he might have gone to Haiti, and we're not allowed to go into Haiti. So the dad goes into Haiti illegally and starts looking for the son. And he finds the son working a farm, and the son doesn't recognize him. And then he notices that a lot of other people in the farm are all kind of like mindless and shambling around.
Yeah.
Because what had happened was the farmer, he kidnapped a bunch of people from the Dominican Republic, and he had them working on his farm as zombies. They were all buried or something like that. There's like a whole story of them like being buried or whatever, but they were just being abducted. And he had them working on his farm as zombies, like whole people just working as zombies on the farm.
Right.
Like those movies, the White Zombie, I Walked with the Zombie.
Yep.
The Haitian ones, yeah. So I felt like that was a scary one to share, but that's actually a true story.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that actually happens for real. And it's intense.
Do you know what the method of zombification is?
Yes.
It's some kind of drug.
It's a drug. It's a mixture of drugs and hypnosis. That's what it is. So it's like a mixture of drugs. Like they give you a potion The potions are a thing. They are real. They give you a potion which is laced with drugs, and then there's a sense of like power of suggestion that you kind of understand, but you don't really understand why you're doing it. You just know, okay, I'll do it, and then you just go ahead and do what they say. So it's like, lift the dirt here, okay, I'll do it. Throw the seeds in there, okay, I'll do it. Go back to sleep, okay, I do it. And they walk back home and go back to sleep. Yeah, it's a very like weird sort of thing. But yes. So, does anybody else have any other thoughts on zombies before we wrap up? Cricket. Men fall down. Funny.
Zombies.
Oh my god. So
here's a picture.
So I finally got to live out my video game fantasy of shouting Homer's hallway massacre sequence where he goes in with the gun, he goes into the school and starts shooting all those people. Take that, eat lead, Einstein, bang. Take that, Washington, bang.
Oh, long Shakespeare.
Show's over, Shakespeare.
Oh, show's over, yeah.
I got to live out that video game fantasy in Evil Dead, and I tried to record it for myself, but I couldn't do it. It was so funny. I got the perfect shot going through the house. Boom, show's over, Shakespeare.
Outstanding.
It was a great one. But yes, Bolt, any closing thoughts?
More of a bewilderment on how many form of content zombies have in our lifetime.
Man,
A certain length.
This is part one of a million. This is part one of a mini series here. Zombies. I mean,
I know this is the longest episode today. Now,
because it's zombies, man. Like, we're never gonna hit the full surface of that. There's zombies for everything.
Zombies are a blank canvas on which horror filmmakers and storytellers paint their stuff. That's actually something that we could talk about, like just how zombies are just like ripe for symbolism, and seems like every time someone has their own take on zombies, they find a way to make it symbolize something else.
Yeah, like that Osama zombie movie that came out like a couple years ago. Zombie or something like that.
We can revisit that at a time.
Right.
But no, like that's actually one. Like, we can talk about that. We can also talk about how basically, like, there's so many games out there zombie related that it's insane. Like, it's been a thing forever. We can also go into the zombie literatures, the zombie comics, the Marvel zombies someday, where Thanos eats somebody's head. Yeah, we're never gonna get Disney to do that one. I'm just gonna also clarify that. If you're a fan of the MCU, you will never get a formal, proper Marvel Zombies film, like ever.
Quit dreaming.
Yeah, don't even dream. Dream about something more productive. They will never.
Don't even dream. Just go to sleep without dreaming.
It's more likely that Jennifer Aniston will come to my house and beg me to love her before you ever get that proper film. And I don't like Jennifer Aniston at all.
Especially pulling the plug on this, as we've gone on terribly long.
Okay, assignment for next time. I want us to find a movie that portrays Jennifer Aniston as a zombie.
Do you want me to go to prison? That's how I go to prison.
I said find the film. I didn't say make the film.
But that's the only way I could make the film.
And I know you want to. I could hear it in your voice.
Oh, man, don't tell me that's not fair.
Said he was playing fair to be.
Fine. I'll go watch Leprechaun.
Wow. Right. It's definitely that time of the night when we're recording this.
Right.
Bad decisions are just being made.
Yep, that image is just being made. And we will discuss off topic, off camera, what our most likely our next subject is going to be. Red, any closing thoughts? Man, fall down. Fun.
Shotgun. Where's the sawed-off shotgun when I need it?
Brains. Oh, we can talk about that one next too. Return of the Living Dead. That one needs.
Me prefer the prefrontal cortex.
Oh my god, that movie was so great. Send parents' brains on a 2x5 postcard.